Kakistocracy. Now the word be that. Look your screen. It's a government wherein the worst and the least qualified of a nation, now them they head that government. All across Africa, now Kakistocracy, now in the inside. More especially, the giant of Africa, Nigeria. Now the worst of us, the least of us, now them they power. And then you want to develop. Development is not all about building houses, structures. There are more to it. Have you heard of human development? Human development. Are we anywhere close to human development in this country? A country that cannot even educate its citizens. We are not talking about human development. They told us that our GDP is $500 billion and our population is over 200 million. In fact, our population is 300 million. With this population, over 200 million, we are sitting on a GDP of $500 billion. Why are we not going to sit on that kind of a GDP? Why? Where everything that we need in this country is imported, including toothpick. Would they even import eggs? As if say, our fowl for here, our chicken for here. We don't forget how to lay eggs. Who is there to move us from consumption to production? Because now waiting will increase your GDP. Now waiting will help develop your country. I am import everything. Why are we not going to be importing everything? Because we have the list of us in government, the least qualified. Do you understand me? We so much derive joy to see thieves, criminals come to power. Now then with the support. Just that way, just like that way happen in Bible. They say Jesus or Barnabas. They say give us Barnabas. They left Jesus and went for Barnabas. Then when Barnabas start misbehaving, they will now start asking, we thought you are the Christ. Christ kill you dear. Are you getting it? How are we going to develop when the least of us are in power? How? And then most of us carry out for her saying fasting and prayer go save our country and our continent. Say that fasting and prayer. Our fasting and prayer get save. Okay. Don't put work into place. Don't strategize. Carry fasting and prayer for head. Now you go save this country. You cheerful that all works without faith without work is dead. You go to pray. What do they work? What are the things that we are doing to make sure that our prayers work in this country? It's not all about prayers. If it is by prayers, God supposed to help this country long time ago. Now today they start to pray that prayer for Catholic, prayer for Nigeria in distress. Oh now I'm baby prayer for Nigeria in distress in this country. In the 90s, I can have I wrote today to tell you that prayers is not just about prayers. They pray. Which work are you putting? Which work are you putting into place to make sure that we get it right? We can't just sit down and fold our hands and be praying. Government is misbehaving. Nobody is talking. We are praying. As you are praying for the government, they are growing fat. How they make more money? You are wasting your prayers. When it's time for us to do the right things, government misbehave. We go give a raise. We go come out. That is it. Look at the situation that we have found ourselves as Nigerians and as Africans. We allow the least of us to be in power and mess everybody up. I don't want to talk too much. We will go on this short break. When we come back, he get one professor who I can give him. He will explain this thing in total, so that you go understand waiting this up, how it may be, and why Africa will remain like this until something is done about leadership in Africa, more especially Nigeria. Because if Nigeria no rise, Africa no go rise. No go tell ourselves the truth. This is the country that have the highest population of black race in the world. You understand? We are smart people, no? Africans are very smart. But here now only us know. Which they do us, now only us know. And we know the solutions to our problems. But we don't want to implement them. Let us go on this short, but we'll come back. I will give you that professor that will straighten things up. Well, let's go on this break.
Imagine a country where its citizens get to enjoy the road without this. Imagine a country where unprecedented fuel scarcity does not cause panic at the filling station. That is why Innocent Vehicles has embarked on manufacturing environmental-friendly gas-powered cars while still offering comfort, luxury, and doggedness for the African roads. Innocent Vehicles, the pride of African roads.
Welcome back. Who am I talking about? And a person you know, Professor Patrick Lumumba. This guy too wise. Now very smart guy. You see, okay, I hold this man. You see this man. The guy too wise. I listened to him. It was as though he was talking to Nigeria in particular. You see that Kakistocracy. Now Nigeria is the talk about in particular. I'm telling you, forget about other African countries. When we get it right, other countries will get it right. Now we know the whole other continents. If we get it right, this continent will get it right. Other countries of this continent. Let us listen to Professor Patrick Lumumba. From there they go, ponder on waiting him talk. Anything where you listen to, where you know to understand, come ask her for comment section. Let us dialogue. I give you Professor Patrick Lumumba.
Just this morning, my wife sent me a proverb from Turkey that when you elect a clown and you think that he will be a king, what he does is to convert the kingdom into a circus. And I am suggesting to us that that is part of the African problem because it starts with political hygiene. Most of Africa is suffering because we do not have democracies. We have kakistocracies. And kakistocracies are governments by our very worst. This is what we must deal with, and this is what we must say. Who do we elect into our public offices? Because, as I've said before, when you allow hyenas to take care of goats, why should you be surprised when the goats are eaten? This is the same. And Africa is only going to realize our potential in all areas when, by dint of choice, we enable and allow our best men and women to serve in different areas. I've heard it being said about Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. I've heard it being suggested about Mahathir Mohamad in Malaysia. I've heard it being said about Japan. I've heard it being said about other countries. But there was a conscious decision on the part of those individuals and the followership. We always talk about leaders, but we never talk about the followers. The followers must also style up. Africans on average are for some reason attracted to thieves. Africans are for some reason attracted to men and women who cannot serve her. And when they are not served, then they complain. When Africans are told, choose you now whom we shall release, Jesus of Nazareth or Barabbas, they say, release Barabbas. And when Barabbas behaves like Barabbas, they say, why are you not behaving like Christ? It cannot be done. And this is what we must do. And I am submitting to us that it can be done and it should be done. And Nyerere of Tanzania once said, we must also define what development means. And he said, development does not mean necessarily the building of skyscrapers. There is nothing wrong with that. But let the Americans go to the moon. We are going to provide water to our villages. We must define what development means. And once we define what development means and we define ourselves, then Africa shall realize our potential. In 1996, Thabo Mbeki talked about an African. Who is an African? Who are you? Define yourself first. The Chinese define themselves. The Indonesians define themselves. The Koreans define themselves. We must define ourselves. and begin to believe in our institutions. When the American dollar as much as sneezes, the naira goes into a coma. Why? 63 years after independence in Nigeria, 66 in Ghana, 61 in Kenya and many other countries, we still believe that somebody else's currency is what must define us. 63 years after independence, we are still importing chicken as if our chicken forgot how to lay eggs. The time is now for Africa to ask fundamental questions. Because if you ask the wrong questions, you'll get the wrong answers. And I'm suggesting to us that Africa is already asking those questions. We must change our governance. Because if we don't deal with the question of governance, we are going nowhere. Africa has become a continent where after every election there is conflict, because the pursuit of power is a cutthroat competition where throats are actually cut. And when the SMO was here and he consulted the oracles, he discovered that we have a problem in that direction. And that the sooner we resolve that, the safer we will be. Africa can rise and Africa will rise. But it's not going to rise by prayer and fasting. We must pray and fast, but it will not happen. Because the last time I checked, even those of you are believers, when Abraham was taken from Ur of the Chaldeans and given Canaan, it was not on a silver platter. He had to fight the Canaanites. He had to fight the Philistines. That is the nature of divine instruction. Go ye and subdue the world by the sweat of thy brow.